Peace. What's good? Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. How to beat Tom Aspinall. Turn his lights out. So, I've watched every Tom Aspinall fight now. It took me about 5 minutes. I watched all his fights. It took me like 5 minutes. Maybe like eight, being generous. Maybe like 8 minutes to watch all of his fights. Because you gotta also watch the part where he like runs to the fence and then struggles to actually jump up on the fence. You gotta watch that part too. So it's about 8 minutes. But it's about 5 full minutes of him actually moving around and fighting. That's deeply concerning for me. I get that if you probably watch like every single fight ever, you might know these guys. If you're Joe Rogan, if you're paid to give a fuck about who any of these people are, you could probably be like, whatever. But they don't even say Palfovich. They say the Russian guy. He fought a Russian guy. He fought a Russian. Red Scare bullshit. He must be tough then. Come on. Aren't you afraid of the Russians? No. There's Russian girls twerking on the internet. No, I'm not afraid of the Russians. They look like they just want to party. How to beat Tom Aspinall. I'm going to give you two strategies. I'm going to give you a strategy as a smaller competitor and as everyone is looking for, John Jones. There's three main things. And I guess to the casual fan, the people that bet on fights, any fight is not conclusive. The simple fact that two men are engaging in combat means that either one can win. Because both of them has figured out a strategy to kill the other man. You could make Tom Aspinall look however the fuck you racists want him to look. If a man like Tom Aspinall was assaulting your kid, if he was attacking your wife, your mother, you wouldn't give a single fuck how big this dude is. That's the mentality that you need to have if you're going to be a fighter, a professional fighter. I'm going to take your life because you have dared to even think about harming one of mine. That's what you need to be a fighter. He doesn't have that. What Tom Aspinall has is not killer instinct. What he has, quite honestly, is a pretty high fight IQ. He has been in a lot of fights. But the thing for guys like Tom Aspinall, they're not in fights with guys like them. They're not in fights with people as good as them. They're not used to being tested. They're not used to being pushed. They're not used to being challenged. So the first thing, if you're a smaller competitor in any fight, is persistence. Every single one of these fights, and I get some of them might have really gotten their lights knocked out. But in a lot of these fights in which he's in, all the guys either go to the ground and they have no sense of defense on the ground whatsoever, he gets on you pretty quick. I'll give it to you. But if you're fighting for your life and someone has a knife, I don't think you're gonna let them do what Tom Aspinall is like. If you're in a sport and you're getting like, picture this. In the UFC, you get paid whether you win or lose. You're not in a situation in which if you lose this fight, you're you're good. You're still getting paid to fight. That's the look of every single person that loses to Tom Aspinall is not like, wow, this has completely changed my life. Wow, I really got it. Everyone's look is, oh man, I'll get him next time. He has a very sportsman-like perspective of this. They said he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, so he's used to like the tournament style of fighting. He's used to just trying to get through this as quickly as possible, preserve his energy for the next fight. All these guys are getting paid to fight. A lot of them are essentially being paid to lose. It's a great way to build up a character. You got this guy who is genuinely talented, way more talented than the grand majority of fighters out there, or else he wouldn't be in the UFC. None of these guys would be in the UFC if they were not the top percentage. Your persistence on getting on guys like that, your persistence, your will to live, and not accepting death as an option, not accepting losing as an option, understanding full well the danger that you're in, understanding full well that losing is an option. It is a realistic option that you might lose, but in the same sense, losing is not an option. So then what do you got to do? He's coming in. He's a really good one, too. And he has a lot of force. He has a lot of mass times acceleration. So a guy that big pulling in with a woof, you know, that's probably gonna knock you on your ass. That's probably gonna knock your lights. Telling you to dodge, stick and move is it, but the peekaboo style, Philly shell style, you need to outbox him. So that's the first thing, is your persistence. The second thing is footwork. Every single fight that he's in, every single fight that he has been in, every guy tries to square up and slug it out with him. And I really don't think that that's wise. I don't think that that's a good strategy, considering that he's never had a fight longer than 20 seconds or 60 seconds against a bunch of fucking, not just a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of people who have zero championship at like fucking, none of these guys would ever be fucking UFC heavyweight champion. They wouldn't be UFC heavyweight. They would never be a UFC champion. A lot of guys are just happy to be paid to fight. They're just prize fighters. They are just happy to be able to get in the ring. They're just happy to be able to get in front of the crowd, get in front of the spotlight. A lot of guys just do it for the adrenaline. You know, a lot of guys don't got shit else they can do. This is just how they pay their bills, is beating people up or being beaten up. So persistence, footwork, I guess those are pretty standard. But within footwork, I don't just mean that. Like every single guy tries to just with him. If you're a smaller opponent, you have two options. You either close the distance, which is, I guess that's the strategy that they're using and trying to employ, is that you close the distance to try to lessen the blow and the force of his punches. But in the case of a guy like Aspinall, you really want him punching to the point that he's hyperextending himself attempting to hit you. you have to outbox him. You have to just, you don't even necessarily have to get in combinations. Like, it's a guy like him is goofy as fuck. He does not have good footwork. He will never have good coordination a day in his life. He doesn't even look like he can dance. Staying on the balls of your feet really isn't going to help you. You really just need to keep slipping and weaving them. You know he's going to punch you. He's like Leota Machida. You know he's just gonna come at you with a blitz. Break that line of sight. Break that line of vision. Just keep moving. You really don't have to worry. If you get out of that first round, he's done. He's like, he's psychologically, you're going to break him. So that's the first step. He's not a very confident person. He's a very consistent person. He's a very predictable person. And he does very simplistic, very complicated. It is complicated. To bulldoze someone into a fucking iron rod and then get behind them and choke them, it's pretty complicated. He thought about that before he did it. Hitting a double leg on someone, going for not just an armbar, but an extended hyper extended armbar on top. He thought about that before he did it. He's used that before. He has a very reliable pull of skills. A double leg takedown, which nobody has sprawled on. And I guess the way that he does it, it'll be kind of hard to sprawl because he just wraps his arms around your legs and just runs into you like he has just learned how to wrestle. He has a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu background, so his wrestling game really is not where he thinks it is. He has a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu game. That's not the same as wrestling. I would honor the fact that he does not pull guard. That's a meme, that's a joke. But, I honor the fact that he does go for chokes, he does go for arm bars. He does know how to submit people. He's not just going to try to. So the second round, he is going to be trying to get you onto the ground because now he's tired, he's fat. Remember, this is the fucking English Roy Country Nelson. This is the English muffin and gravy. Instead of biscuits and gravy, he's English muffins and gravy. That's what Tom Aspinall is. He's going to try to just sit on you now. He more than likely has a point lead from the first round from being the aggressor. He's tired. He's psychologically broken. And he's not a very confident person. He's consistent, but internally, he's weak. The second round, he's just going to try to lay on you. He doesn't have that kind of gas. Being that big, finishing matches that quickly, you know he does not have a gas tank. No one really does. But you have persistent hunters like Alex Pereira, and you have the one hit quit us like English muffins and gravy, Tom Aspinall. He's going to try to lay on you. He's going for that double leg. And there's two ways to do a defense of the double leg. The defense that these guys are doing is attempting to sprawl. And when you sprawl, the way that most people train a sprawl, they train a hesitation before they sprawl. They don't just drop down. They train a like it's a 2-step, 3-step process for them. Push the arm, and you might have to deal with that But having Tom Aspinall on your arm is a lot different than having him on your leg. So I'm not going to stand up and visualize this for you. I might move the mic a little to the side for you. So Tom Aspinall's double leg, he comes in like this. Post that head, post your arm, and you're going behind him. You're not sprawling back because when you sprawl back, you're already sending your momentum back for this bulldozer double leg takedown that he did not learn until he got to the UFC. By how sloppy and how fucking ugly that double leg takedown looks, he doesn't even do a duck walk or anything. He literally just throws himself at the opponent after feigning to be a boxer. He's not a boxer. He's not a striker. He's a big boy who learned how to throw punches. That's it. You can tell when, because it's like his punches aren't really like consistently working on knocking people out. If you've noticed that, you probably didn't. People get up from his punches if he doesn't catch them off guard, because he'll hit him with like a knee. Sorry, there's people like sleeping upstairs and stuff. He'll hit him with like a knee, and then he'll go in for the 1-2. His 1-2. It's probably more of the knee that got him, quite honestly. And just, I feel like he just catches people by surprise because he seems like a very awkward type of guy. He knows what he's doing, but you don't know what the hell this guy's about to do. He only has 5 minutes of footage. And I'll give it to him. He does something different every once in a while. Like if his punching does not work, and if you're watching this video, it's probably not going to work on you. You're left with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think, ironically, the best way to beat Tom Aspinall is on your feet. I feel like with guys like Tom Aspinall, because it reminds me of myself, when your background is in grappling, you don't have the confidence in your striking that people think that you personally do. You know your wheelhouse is slamming people on their head or choking people out or outsmarting them on the ground, because majority of wrestling is just finding a way to get people on the ground. When you introduce a grappler to mixed martial arts, punching people becomes a way to get them on the ground. But with mixed martial arts versus boxing, because Tom Aspinall would not make a very good boxer, people just kind of need to lose control over the fight, and if you're throwing rampantly and wildly enough, the referee will probably stop the fight, and the other guy will probably be like, dude, what the fuck? Some of these guys have like, I didn't even get a chance to like really defend myself. Like, you should have just pulled them off of me and reset or something. But I don't know, it looked good. It looks good. It looks good. It really does. So the persistence is more of an endurance thing. Persistence hunting. You need to pursue Tom Aspinall like he's a water buffalo. And this water buffalo definitely has horns. And if he hits you with those horns, he's going to do serious damage to you. This water buffalo has hooves, it has feet. If it kicks you, if it steps on you, it's going to hurt you. You know, water buffalo is a majestic creature. You fuck with it, you know, you might die. There's a chance that it might kill you. It could probably just sit on you and kill you. That's why you don't want to get on the mat with him. What the water buffalo does not have is coordination. It does not have the biggest brain. It's not the smartest fighter. It's been into a lot of fights probably. It's a pretty big buffalo. But it grazes. You can outrun it. Tom Aspinall is not fast. Tom Aspinall is explosive. There's a difference. There's a difference between being able to maintain that speed over time and being able to get a big burst of acceleration. What Tom Aspinall has is acceleration. He does not have velocity. He does not have speed. He is explosive. I would tell you, like, that explosivity is going to remain a problem throughout the entire fight, no matter how many rounds that there are. Like any fucking person in a fight ever. Duh. He's immortal. He's immortal. And he's human. He bleeds. You see the one fight, you don't even really see how it happens, but he bruises so you too, you know? Any real damage that you do to Tom Aspinall is going to break his psyche because he's simply just not used to being hit. He is so awkward. Like, he throws and he throws. I agree with you, he does throw pretty fast punches, but he throws them like in a way that you've never really seen ever before. Like, it's kind of like he's spamming, you know. He's basically like, if it's like when you're playing a video game with your little brother and they just keep spamming and spamming and spamming and spamming. Getting control of his wrist, maintaining that control, and breaking his wrist would be your first priority. You may not necessarily be able to break his wrist, but you can dislocate his wrist. You can do serious damage to his wrist. Second option is outboxing, which no one has attempted or tried because he's not fought a boxer yet or anyone with a boxing background. He's fighting guys that have an MMA background. He's fighting sluggers. He's fighting guys that are going in the middle of the ring there with him. It's not running away if it's a part of your plan. And it's just smart. You stay on the outside of his range, and he does have a pretty high range. He did pretty long arms, man. But with that comes tendon damage. A lot of it. You stay on the outside of those punches. You slip those punches because you're staying the fuck away from him. You don't need to grapple with him. You don't need to go into a clinch with him. You don't need to prove that you're stronger than him. You just need to kill him. He misses a few of those punches, the way that he throws them. He's fucking his elbows up for the rest of that fight. He's not going to be able to throw another punch. You give him one or two misses like that. I mean, just really, boxing, just whoop. You know, you just slip the shit. You know, he's not throwing another punch. Now, deadly thing about him, that head kick. Oof. You could walk it off, do your taxes, figure out what kind of deductions you get, and then plan a life after fighting. I would also say staying out of the range works for that as well, very much so. Because he does not seem remotely comfortable with his kicks at all. It was there. You you could argue that maybe the guy was out after the head kick. I think the head kick in the first 5 seconds of the fight just caught him the fuck off guard. Probably did wake him up. Probably didn't put him to sleep at the same time after it woke him up. But it looked like it mostly just caught him off guard. And then he was just still reeling from the head kick and processing that he got kicked in the head. And the fight just kept going on after that point in time. He did try to keep his distance. But you understand that this guy is going to continue pursuing you and pursuing you and pursuing you and pursuing you. Pull guard. Pull guard. If you have the grappling background and you're ready for a guy that's fat, sweating on top of you, pull guard. Understand this is a last case scenario. But since you're not wrestling and getting put on your back and closing the distance is probably going to be better than trying to close the distance where he's the most powerful. His punches aren't going to have as much force grappling on the ground. But then it comes down to, can you out grapple a jiu-jitsu black belt? I would say that your best bet is that you could probably knock out Tom Aspinall. Because I've never even seen a guy really land a hit. They just seem so surprised by how awkward he is as a fighter. And I would say that he is a genuinely awkward. Like, he just seems like an awkward human being. He does not really seem like someone able to have a conversation. He just seems like a really weird dude who like beats his meat to like stepsister porn. Especially with that weird ass fucking creepy, like that weird shit he does with his facial hair. Like, oh my god, like he just looks like such a scumbag, you know, but that's neither here nor there. Now, if you're a taller opponent and you don't have to go to the minutia of trying to protect your entire livelihood because you don't have the range, if you have similar range, if not an inch or two more, which you might have anyway, on Tom Aspinall, I'm pretty sure the average guy has an extra couple of inches than Tom Aspinall has. But that's neither here nor there either. If you have the range to contend with his distance of his punches, staying outside the realm of his punches is always going to benefit you. It's always going to benefit you to either break a man's wrist or to force him to hyperextend his elbow, or force him to hyperextend his knee, or force him to exhaust his shoulders. These are always great strategies. These are always great things that you should utilize, you know. But if you have similar range to Tom Aspinall, a front kick is really your best bet. If your legs are a little shorter, you know, you really don't want to offer up that much. Once he's tired, you can just pick him apart if you're a smaller opponent. Larger opponent too, because he does not have the. He would not be attempting to end fights so quickly if he thought he could win a fight after that. He just wouldn't. I know you're thinking a lot of things, but no, he just wouldn't. If you're very confident within your fighting ability, you want to put on a great show for the crowd. It's not cockiness, it's showmanship. He's a sportsman, he's not a showman. He's showing you all that he's got. There's not a lot of footage on him because this is all he's got. He can choke you, he can put you in an arm bar or a knee bar, he can knock you out. Those are the rules of mixed martial arts, are they not? Those are the rules of mixed martial arts. You could do the same thing to him, though. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Fighting is not easy. Fighting is not a desirable option. If you really want to beat Tom Aspinall, be his best friend because he looks lonely. Guys like him, it's not that they're naturally good. They do genuinely work very hard to be as good as they are. They really are as talented as you think that they are. But that's the issue. That's it. They are as talented as you think that they are. And if you don't think that they're that talented, you obviously have a great deal more experience than they do. You've seen a lot more fights than they have. And you can see areas that they could improve. You see areas where they're making a mistake. Those oblique kicks are going to end Tom Aspinall's career. And some guy went for like a lower leg kick. That shit hurt. And he had no check, he had no defense for that whatsoever. You know, when he's rushing in for that double leg, knock him the fuck out. Knock him out. Just punch him in the face. You don't even have to try to. That's another. You're doing mixed martial arts now, too. You're not even just wrestling. You see, just punch him in the fucking face. He's got to stop. Keep punching him in the face. Punch him in the face while he's taking you down. Punch him in his face while he's getting close to you. Anytime that he gets too close and he opens himself up, punch him in the face. He's too fat. I don't think you can punch him in the throat. I really don't think that you can in mixed martial arts. So I would recommend you punch him in the heart. Punch him straight in the heart because he doesn't have any pec muscles to protect himself. He's too fat for body shots. I feel like that's the most dangerous thing about Tom Aspinall is that he's really fat. So there's a layer of muscle underneath there, but there's also a layer of blubber from all the English muffins and gravy and fucking wieners that he's been putting in his mouth. That when you punch him in his stomach, it's just gonna make him giggle like the State Puff Marshmallow Man. And that's the reason why he honestly got into fighting. Because if you punch him in the stomach, he's probably not gonna feel it. Punch him straight in the heart. Don't even aim for his face. Just punch him in the heart a bunch of times. Get some front kicks to the heart. And doing that, he's not going to be able to breathe. He's already not going to have a gas tank. But now you're taking away his ability to breathe. Again, we're trying to kill him. We're not trying to just win the fight. We're trying to take his life away. Because in this scenario, he's trying to take your life away as well. You know, so this is how you defend yourself from a big, white, burly opponent. You need to punch him in the chest. Another option, the knee strikes to the floating ribs, right to those lower ribs there. Breaking his ribs is going to be a godsend for you. Breaking as many as those lower ribs as you get, it's going to be an irritant throughout that entire fight. So you're probably not going to get a hook to the body. You might get some punches to the heart, especially when he's coming in on you, boom, 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 right straight to the freaking heart. He's going to back up off of you. You punch him in the face, he's probably not really used to that, but it's just too far of a distance to really bother yourself with. You can win by points in this fight as well. If this is like a sports regulated fight, you can do enough damage that he's just going to want to back off of you, realize that you're not an easy target. Those punches to the heart, those knees to those floating ribs, dislocating and breaking his wrist, getting control of that as possible, pulling guard, being persistent. And he's lost to a knee bar, so he really doesn't, he's an awkward, inflexible guy. He's not athletic at all. Not in the least. He's very big. He probably hits very hard. He's not athletic. He's a fat, greasy, English and gravy type of guy. And, it's dangerous. Everyone's dangerous. Anyone can win a fight. Even guys that you think couldn't, they probably fucking could if they really put their mind to it. And believe me, I'm not underestimating him. I'm not underselling him. But those kicks to the inner knee, not just the outer knee, but those kicks to the inner knee, those sharp check kicks, because you can't check that. You kick to the outside, he might be able to defend it with the check. You kick to the inner knee, he can't do anything against that. You get a few kicks to the inner knee, he loses a lot of his power and stability. So his lead leg, he is right-handed. So that lead left leg, knee kicks there, inner knee leg kicks there. And maybe he might check you with the other leg, but I really doubt it because he's loading up so much on that right. He's loading up so much on that right leg. He can't even move the front one. You can honestly, honestly, if you really wanted to be Tom Aspinall and your wrestling was really good, you could literally take him down in the first 3 seconds of the fight. You know, the best, and if this scenario doesn't work, you can very easily fall back to the rest of this video. But I would honestly tell you the greatest possible method that I see to beat Tom Aspinall, whether you're a smaller opponent or a larger opponent, going for that ankle pick, getting on him immediately, taking him down by the legs, and breaking his knee or ankle would probably be your best bet. As quickly as allotted, as quickly as you see it, I don't care if you got to do it standing. I don't care if you got to get him to the ground. But the way that he fights, he's like this. That he's loaded, he is loaded up on that back leg, ready to spring. There's no weight on that front leg. You kick it, he's going down. But with that, I'm thinking with the kick, you get the oblique kick, baby. Even if you got to do this a little later and get this in the second round, as soon as possible, though. That. Whoosh, you drop it. You don't fall back. Most guys fall back. They fall back to their corners. I don't know if that's a rule or not. You immediately go for that ankle pick. Why an ankle pick and not a double leg? Why an ankle pick and not a single leg? Well, the ankle pick is going to allow you to get low enough, kind of like the Mike Tyson peekaboo style when he was still in his prime and not showing his ass on TV for money. The peekaboo style that Mike Tyson utilized once upon a time, not anytime soon, not anytime recently, but he once utilized once upon a time. That style, you're going to get low enough that he can't hit you because he has range, but he's a tall guy. He's a tall, awkward guy. He's not flexible. He's not going to be able to really hit you past his knee. He's going to hit you at his hip. He has the distance that he could probably knock you out, get a hook or something, or at least just not make your day. Just kind of like deter you from trying that again. But from the knee or the ankle, he doesn't have any solid solution for that. He doesn't have any reaction for that. He has great hand-eye coordination. He does not have that great foot-eye coordination. Getting in on that knee, getting in on that ankle, and breaking it, he's done. And I know, you're not actually going to break it. You're going to attempt to break it. You're going to be maneuvering to break it. You're going to get a heel hook. You're going to get a knee bar in, but that is the best way to beat him. Yes, you're still going to have a giant, massive tree trunk kicking you down, but people cut down trees all the time. Do they not? Do they not? Tell me that they don't. People make entire careers of being a fucking lumberjack and chopping down trees. They do it. They really do. All you need to do to beat Tom Aspinall is hunt that water buffalo. Hunt that English muffins and gravy, Roy Country Nelson. Roy UK Nelson, you know. Hunt that water buffalo. Or chop down the tree. And you could chop down the tree from the middle by breaking his ribs. You could do oblique kicks, you could break his knee. And honestly, you could probably even like I wouldn't even kick him in the knee. I would go for the same style of oblique kick, but do it directly to the shin, the inner shin where it's not checked, and break his shin. That's a pretty good idea too. Or do the Kurt Angle, go for the ankle bar, go for the ankle pick, and then go for the ankle lock and snap his ankle, snap his Achilles, make him quit. Because he doesn't have any defense below his hips. Yes, he can sprawl on you, but with the ankle pick, it's a little kind of hard to sprawl on you because you do a little slick out at the end there. You don't really just, it's not a double leg where you just stay underneath him or like a single leg where you have control over it. He's not expecting an ankle pick. No one's ever gone for a shot on him before. Every single person he's been in has tried to stand their ground with him because this is the trap. This is the psychological reverse psychology of Tom Aspinall. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and that is all he is, and that's all he's ever going to be. But with that Brazilian jiu-jitsu game, there's a lot of guys who are not going to try to go on the ground with him because their striking is better than their grappling. I think for you have to be a certain type of human being to be a wrestler. He wasn't a wrestler. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Does he look Brazilian to you? No. Does he look Japanese to you? No. Does he look like a white guy? There is no Caucasian Jiu-Jitsu. There's no American Jiu-Jitsu. It's not there. You're either Japanese or you're Brazilian. You do Jiu-Jitsu, and then you might be scary. Anybody else is a poser. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He's not a wrestler. Wrestle him. Force him to wrestle. Force him to wrestle in a way in which he is going to fucking exhaust himself. And get this, carrying all that weight on you is going to make you exhausted. So don't make him carry your weight. Get him on his back. You don't really need to punch with him. If you can get into that shot, you can pick that ankle from underneath him because it's going that front left leg ankle pick is always there. That front leg single is always there, especially with that nice like chop block addition. You get the ankle pick, you get the single, but you chop block instead of lifting it up. You dragon whip it instead of lifting it up. It's there. It's always there. Every single fight. But I think most guys, because of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, the black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, I feel like most guys feel like they're going to fare better standing up with him than on his feet. And he's kind of had to prove that he could stand on his feet, but not in a very convincing fashion or manner. He's very fast. He ends matches very quickly. But I feel like the fact that he's never had a fight longer than 60 seconds is going to work against him. I guess some people definitely, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been to like a UFC watch party. if every time I went to go watch this guy fight, and I don't know how many times he's even been in a main event. I really genuinely don't. But if every time you're going up to fight as the heavyweight champion and your fight only lasts 30 seconds, you're there at the bar waiting until like 12 in the morning to watch this main event. Maybe 1 a.m. to watch this main event. And the last 30 seconds, you're not fighting the most elite of opponents. I don't feel like Tom Aspinall, in his heart of hearts, cares whether he wins or loses against John Jones. I don't think it's going to hurt him in either way. I feel like it's a very needed experience for Tom Aspinall because I think that he knows he's never fought someone as good as him. He's definitely never fought someone better. But they're out there and they exist. Tom Aspinall would not even be an option in the heyday of UFC. The heyday of Ultimate Fighting, where you had all these guys who were already prize fighters, already in K1, already in Bellator, being offered more money fighting in the UFC. It's not like that anymore. Guys have realized like they can make more money in boxing, they can make more money in pro wrestling. They can make more money elsewhere. So the same amount of guys, the best possible talent has gone to the best possible paydays. And the best possible paydays are not necessarily in the UFC anymore. Tom Aspinall is not fighting the best contention of talent. John Jones has more than enough money to retire on. He's looking for fuck you money, as he says. He's looking for enough money that he can manage properly and never have to work again a day in his life. That even if his wife divorced him, he would still have more than enough money to never have to work a day in his life. That's what he wants. I respect the fuck out of that. I don't feel like John Jones would really be... I think the issue here is the humiliation of building up this legacy. And this guy has consistently knocked people out within the first round. I think that would terrify and worry anybody, for sure. I also feel, in my heart of hearts, he just ain't built like that. He just isn't like, no hate, no shade. Like, I feel like I've given him a lot of respect in this video. But just, the ankle is always there. The front lead leg is always there. He's always loaded up in this way that the front kick to the chest is always there. The front kick to the face is always there. But I feel like you need to be a little bit more confident than normal with him. I feel like if you go in there worried and terrified, and it's hard not to be. Mental conditioning in fighting is very, very important. It's hard not to be. But if you're a calm, collected fighter, I feel like you can piss him the fuck off. Once you start pissing him off because his strategy isn't working, you're staying out of his. He's gonna be like, "Come on, mate. Come on. Let's. Come on. Let's go, mate. Come on. No, you come on. No, you come on. Make him chase you. Make him work for his meal. If you're the smaller opponent, make him work for his meal. That's how you're gonna tire him out. Once you tire him out, round starts up again. Round 2, you can go straight for that ankle pick. First round, exhaust him out. Round 2, go for that ankle pick. Break his ankle. You beat Tom Aspinall.